no, definitely. But what it is there's loads of stuff out there on the internet. So I'm part of all these WhatsApp groups. A lot of residents send me stuff as well. Just talk to them about it. So one of the issues that has been throughout the crisis is the coronavirus real? A lot of people, there's a lot of videos out there. And is the lockdown necessary? Is this some kind of conspiracy by the Chinese to smash our economy so we end up buying everything from China? In a serious, a lot of people are doubting whether these measures are necessary. They're citing the death rates. They're saying, look, the death rates are lower than, say, SARS, swine flu, or other, Ebola, for example. Yet we've shut down our entire economy. Um, uh, you know, and we've done. A lot of people have lost a lot of jobs. A lot of businesses are suffering. Was it necessary to have lockdowns? Was it necessary to have tier 1, 2, 3 in London? We're in tier 3 now. I have a lot of restaurant owners saying, look, why is this necessary? We're constantly losing. So those two questions, and they're ones that are constantly on WhatsApp forums. There's a group of questions that don't believe that's a real health emergency. Let's just put it that way. They don't believe it's a real emergency. And another set of questions questioning the measures that are taken. Is it necessary? So I just want you to, what's your thoughts on that? How would you respond to those kind of questions that are coming from a lot of people that I'm talking to?
I think, I sat at someone's bedside the other day. And they had spent 10, 12 days at home, feverish, struggling to breathe, with sudden onset shortness of breath. All the things that we've been seeing again and again throughout the year. And during the first phase of this whole pandemic earlier in the spring, we had wave after wave after wave of people coming into hospital, all presenting with very, very similar symptoms. Something you don't see normally. On a hospital somewhere like Newham, somewhere like Whipps Cross, where you're getting 60 or 70 people coming in over a 24-hour period, you would have people presenting with all kinds of different problems. And that changes. All of a sudden, it's just one thing that comes in, which makes me think that this thing is real. I can almost feel it. I feel it in the lack of breath that people have. I feel it in the tears that are shed by their relatives when they can't come into the hospital to see them. So from a reality point of view, it's very real in my mind.
But is it necessary? Like a lot of people are questioning the measures. A lot of people are pointing to and that's out. A lot of people are pointing to the low death rates percentage per population, and a lot of people are questioning the measures. Was it necessary? Like from your point of view, how would you respond to that?
So if you look back towards the end of last month, the last week of last month, over 3,000 people died during that week alone. Now, over 3,000 COVID deaths occurred within that, and that's a quarter of all deaths, at a rate that is much higher than the rate that we're seeing within the population as a whole historically. This is the other thing to look at. If you look at the reality of this, and the hardest figure that you can look at is the number of people dying. The number of people dying is greater than the historical background, and it is, we have an excess death rate of at least 60,000 persons so far, then there's a significant impact. And it's an impact above and beyond any other problems that this society faces. As to how significant this is, let me give you a picture. A lot of people say that this is just flu, that the mortality rate is similar to flu, when in fact we're looking at probably mortality rates 30 times higher than a seasonal flu, at least 30 times higher. If you're aged over 75 and you have the virus, in a table of 10 persons, say in a table of 20 persons, you would expect about 2 to die. So 1 in every 10 people above the age of 75 who have this virus will die. Whereas in people below the age of 65, less than 0.5% of people who have it would die. So there's a 20-fold difference. This is a virus that affects the elderly, it affects the poor, it affects the marginalized. In the words of the Secretary General of the WHO, it shines an X-ray light onto the underlying inequalities that exist within society. So from that point of view, if you're young and you're relatively well and you live within your own home and you can afford to stay home and not need to go into work, you may not see what's happening around you. You may not feel the death and suffering that's hit this country. So our perspectives can be very, very different just based upon our risks. However, looking at it from a Cllr Hamlets basis, looking at it from an ethnic minority basis, looking at it from a deprivation and poverty basis, there are very, very few people that I've met who haven't had a relative or a friend who's been in hospital or who's died. So this is going to have a scar that will be present throughout the following 2 generations, at least within the UK.